the icons a bit, rearranging the UI a little bit, but it's the same OS essentially. So I'm just curious why Microsoft went with a desktop operating system where every pundit and their auntie and their dogs were all saying this doesn't work, you know.
Well, I mean, it's another example of Microsoft thinking they're right and do it Microsoft's way. I'm not at all. Sort of slightly off topic, but sort of related. It puts me in mind very much of the fiasco with the HD DVD and Blu-ray issue for the Xbox 360. Microsoft were absolutely adamant that they weren't going to go with Blu-ray. That wasn't the future. It was higher HD DVD, and they pumped a lot of money into it, only for it to bottom out completely and completely fail. And now even Microsoft seems to be championing Blu-ray. I think at the expense of Apple, if I'm not mistaken, when the Apple aren't supporting Blu-ray. Is that correct, Roy? I think you might have covered
they're
this.
trying to make fun of Apple, but this is a company that was actually... Apple was completely out of the picture. They were just relying on downloads as download services and things like that. So to accuse Apple of not going with Blu-ray, you're talking about back in the days, the middle of 2007, I think, when you had the wars between the DVD formats, it was alleged that Microsoft actually bribed some studios or bribed all kinds of players in the market to win the DVD, the HD, the high definition DVD wars. You know, I'm not sure how you would classify Blu-ray versus HD DVD, but I think the next generation of DVD or whatever you might call that. One thing I wanted to say is with the Xbox, it's completely kind of weird. If you look at the international picture and you look at the English press, I think there is a huge anomaly there. I think somebody is not telling you the whole story. The Xbox 360 or the Xbox division in general, the management has been leaving for years now. I don't even know who's leading I'm not sure. Once you hear about the president's leaving, I never hear within a few months about who's replacing them. And I read a lot of Microsoft news, and I've been reading this type of stuff recently. I don't really know what's going on in management in Microsoft.
Maybe it's someone internally from their a bit lower down has been looking at the top job, thinking, oh, excellent, the boss has left, right? I'm going to get a promotion, and they'll put in for the promotion. And once they get it, before it's even been announced, they'll look at the inbox and they'll look at the portfolio and they'll look at the things that only the boss had access to and thought, oh my god, what a fucking mess this is. What the hell can I do with that? Right, do I really want to do this? Or will I just sort of accidentally just sort of mention, oh, that email that I sent confirming that I wanted the job, I sent that while I was drunk. My dog pressed the send button in the email, the reply button. I didn't actually mean that, and then sort of backed down from it because they realised just how difficult a job it's going to be.
Yeah,
that's a joke. That's a joke.
Marketing now. I've never seen this before. They just changed that. They actually work on changing the. I'm not sure what they call it. It's called Media Award or something like that. It's some of those companies they grant contracts for like billions of dollars in advertising and PR, and I don't think they ever spend so much on marketing their products. It's going to cost them a lot of money.
One thing that I was thinking about, Roy, I think it was a couple of episodes ago we had a discussion about sales figures of the 360. Now, there was one thing I considered, and it was a comment actually made myself. I mentioned the fact that I'd bought two Xbox 360s because one broke out of warranty, and I said that this experience is not uncommon, and there's many users on many forums that all say the same thing. Some people even claim to have bought 4 or 5. And the point that got me thinking was, I wonder if the sales figures for the Xbox 360 actually reflect the physical number of users that are alleged to be in the UK, for example, or whether the majority of the figures are repeat buyers and maybe it's got a smaller user base than what was first suggested. Because if I've bought 2 and every user has bought 2, then wouldn't the sales figures be double?
As far as I know, you use a PlayStation 3 now.
Yeah, I've got that as well. But I've got 360. I've had 2 360s. 2 360s, and I've got my PlayStation 3. I consider that if I'm going to make a comment on comparing the two, I can't really do that without having both consoles. I did have a Wii as well, but that was given away.
Maybe when they were thinking about the name, they've got the Xbox. Then what do we call the sequel? They've got the Xbox 2, And then we thought about the reliability things, and if every user has to buy 360 consoles because it's so unreliable, an average of that, maybe that's why where they get the name 360 from. No, obviously that's another joke.
Or when they send it out, it breaks very quickly and comes winging its way back to them again. Complete circle. So that could be.
Yeah, that could be it.
But no, that's what made me think. The sales figures of the 360, are they actually representative of individual users, or are a lot of people like myself who maybe bought a second or third one to replace a broken Xbox 360 out of warranty? Just a food for thought.
One way I think that's a valid point. But one way they could get figures if they wanted to release it is look at the number of people actively using Live, Windows, Xbox Live, or whatever it is.
10 million or something.
I can't particularly comment on the Live service because I've never used it. I was very resentful about having to pay it again just to play the games that you buy for free. The games that you buy, you have to pay for it again. So what I can say is that from the people that I know within the Xbox community, as it were, quite a few of them have the Live service. And what I'd like to say as well is that the Sony and Nintendo also offer network internet play, but for no charge at all. So it seems that Microsoft is currently the only one who wants to take money from you for just basic net play. I should add that PlayStation does have a subscription service which gives you extra entitlements, but you're no way obliged to subscribe into that just to play your games that you've bought in the shops online. Sorry,
just a small thing. One thing that Tim actually got right as a prediction before is he said that the Kinect would be used as an excuse to not release a next generation console, which I don't think the company is able to do now because they lost lots of their managers, and it's, as far as I can tell, it's kind of chaotic. One thing they did say a few weeks ago, I think last month, they said something about not intending to, within sometime in the future, to release a next generation console, the sequel to, if any exists, to Xbox 360. And the reason they gave is exactly what Tim said, is because they just released the Kinect and they want to try and fulfill the potential out of that and kind of give it some more lifetime to kind of keep things going for them.
There was an article that I touched on that I wrote about a few weeks back now, and it was all to do with this. I mean, I don't believe, in the interest of fairness, I think it goes without saying, I don't think that Sony has any immediate plans to release next generation console either. However, Sony's tackled things from a different perspective. They've obviously got the Move technology, which is similar to the Wii technology, the Kinect. But Sony have applied, and we say that horrible patent word, but there's been rumours that they're going for an upgrade module for their PlayStation 3, which would certainly make a lot of sense if they wanted to up the specs of the machine without having to market and create a brand new console. So that was sort of rumoured on my site. I'll put a link on the show notes because it's all just supposition and guesswork at the moment. But certainly if that's Sony's intention, I would suggest that's far better future-proof than a newfangled control system, which has reportedly got a few issues, whive covered on this show before. Sorry.
It's always been the case that the initial games that come out for any console don't use the features and the functions of that console to anywhere near its full advantage. You see it with like the PlayStation 1. If you compare the early PlayStation games to the ones that came out just before its demise, there's night and day. The games were a lot better. And the only reason for that is because the developers really get to know the guts of the console and they push it to its limits and explore its limits. I've heard a few people talking about GT5 on the PS3, that's pushing the limits of the hardware at some points probably beyond what it can go to get visual tearing and stuff like that. But that would be a different sort of performance level to the early games that came out. So the more power that you've got, the more capacity you've got in these consoles, then the longer it's going to take, or the more the developers have to be able to push it. So yeah.
Well, staying on the subject of Sony very quickly, because I'm aware of the time, we're going to move on to our next news topic. It's just a very quick piece of news, and I would appreciate comments from both Roy and yourself, Gordon. It's still on the lines of Sony. It's to do with Sony's smartphone partnership, I think is probably the best word for it. Sony have developed hardware, a new phone